Hey everybody, today we're going to be talking about the new 2016 Tacoma build-it-yourself winch bumper from Armageddon Armor and how to put it together. So what we got here is laid out all the parts that you're going to use. We've got your frame plates, your side plates, the winch mount, the face, and then obviously some wings and additional parts and pieces that we're going to use and get into later. But the first step is to prep your bumper to be cut so that we can go ahead and build this thing on the truck. So Brandon with an eye here is going to go ahead and tape this down the lines that we have detailed in the instructions that you can find online or in your box there. You can see here that Brandon's applying the tape so that the edge of the tape is right on the edge of this bend line here. That's going to mark your upper portion that you're going to cut. You're obviously going to cut on the other side of the tape line. Gives you an exact inch. And as we roll it down to each side, we're going to take a few little measurements here on the inside there to make sure that you're giving yourself enough plastic so you don't cut too much off. Okay, so now Brandon with an eye has gotten this taped up nicely here. And basically you're using 1-inch painter's tape, and we line it up on this edge, and our cut line is going to be on the back side of the painter's tape on this side. But you'll notice down here, we found that leaving a little bit more plastic in this area makes for a nicer, cleaner install. So we took about a 1/4 inch off of here at this point. You're looking at about a 1/2 inch from this corner to the edge of the tape, instead of cutting the back side of the tape like we would. So you follow this line, measure about a 1/2 inch here, just go straight from here to here, and then finish your taping down underneath as the instructions show. All right, so once you've got this cut and cleaned up, you're going to want to pick all this little plastic off of it and everything. You want to remove your crash bar. That is 3 14mm nuts on each side here, and then there is a 17mm bolt that bolts into this extension arm here. Go ahead and take that bolt out on that extension arm so that you're just left with the clean frame right here so we can start putting all the parts together. So before we get started, you want to make sure that we've got our weld nuts in place here. It's 3 3/8 weld nuts and 1/4 inch weld nut. Just make sure that you can obviously get a nice weld between these two. And once you get that done, we'll come back, we'll have them set in place. All right guys, so after you've got your bumper cut, we're going to start by building the winch tray on a table here. This is going to be the easiest way to get it done. So take your left and right frame brackets here and hang them over the edge so that the feet are nice and flat against those. Grab your side plates here that have already got your weld nuts in. You're just going to pop them into this tab. It should stay up just like that. Same one for the other side. And then grab your winch tray with the 90-degree angle facing down, and then just slip it into the slots here. Let me scoot this over. All right. Once you've got everything tabbed together, so once you've got all your parts put together and tabbed in, we're going to want to check some measurements here. We're looking for about, well, exactly 7/8 of an inch from the edge of the frame plate to the edge, from the edge of the side plate to the edge of the frame plate here. Make sure you got 7/8 both top and bottom. Looks like I moved it a little bit. And also on the other side, obviously 7/8 too. We want to make sure this plate is running parallel to the edge of the frame plate. You should also measure about 2 inches from the edge of this plate to the edge of that one. I just moved it. Once you've got all your measurements, you can go ahead and tack it in place, and we'll teach you how best to weld it so that it comes out nice. Okay. I'm sure my camera guy is getting upset with me, but I'm just triple checking measurements. I like things to be perfect. So just right at 7/8. And hold it in place here. We'll give it a good tack on the end. We've got the top and bottom plates tacked into place. We could still separate this if we needed to, because obviously But we use this to get everything lined up nice and tight. Now what you want to do is you want to try your face on and make sure that the lines are coming together like you expect them to. The side plate should come just to the edge of the face here on both sides. And there's going to be a little gap there, but that's going to let you lay that bead in there nice for 100% penetration. Now that we've verified that that's good, we can go ahead and get this thing put together and weld it up. Just make sure everything's square. Obviously we want these frame plates to be on the edge of the table so that we can make sure the rest of everything is squared to the frame plates, because as you put those on the truck, these are going to have to be tightened down and brought all the way up, and that's what sets the whole bumper together. So a much better welder than I is going to come over here and teach us how to best weld this and what welds to start with first so that everything stays in line like we expect it. Okay, so the first thing Austin's going to do is he's going to weld the frame plate to the side plate here, down this line, and then the winch plate to the frame plate down this line here. So now we are going to make this weld down the winch tray to the side plate. It's not a short weld, so just take your time and make sure it's nice and even. So after you finish welding the inside of the box, the winch tray, we're gonna go ahead and weld the outside up.
Tack and tack, so you don't come past the winch.
Okay, so what Austin said was that he puts a tack here and a tack here, so that if you do have to use your a nut closer, the weld won't interfere. Once you do those tacks, you're just going to weld up to the edge and weld down to the edge. So for the underneath, we don't need a solid weld. We're just going to do a stitch weld and then weld this all the way up here and then wrap it all the way underneath. Now Austin's simply wrapping the weld from the outside to the inside of the plate there. Make sure it's as strong as possible. Next thing we need to do is place these rectangular pieces here, right here in these two holes. Quite hot. Don't touch it. I'm gonna let him do it. So once we've got the box all welded up and finished, now's the time to put the faceplate on, and our faceless welder here is going to get this set in place. So once you get the face set onto the box, first thing we want to do is make sure that our shackle mounts are not obstructed by the side plates here. Obviously that's fine. And then you want to take a look down the face of the plate with the side plate here. We want to see a little lip on both sides. Just split the difference. Make sure it's even on both sides. Hold it firmly in place, and then where's the first place you tack it? First place he tacks it is down low. Whoops. Do the same thing to the other side. Put a couple tacks underneath the face of the plate. So after we get the face put in, we're going to take a pair of channel locks here. We're going to pull the winch plate to the face to make sure that we've got a nice even gap there. Once we got that tacked in place, now we'll be able to completely weld out the front portion of the face before we add the wings. Once we get the face set in place, the first thing we're going to weld up is this seam right here, this seam right here. We weld the winch tray in a stitch, and then we do the other two seams on the other side. So the next thing we need to do is we actually need to put a beveled edge on these corners here and also on these corners here. Because this ends up being a butt weld in some situations, and we want to make sure we get good penetration all the way through. So just go ahead and bevel this edge out and get it tacked in and welded up. First thing we're going to do is we're going to tack it at the bottom here. And then we're going to work our way around on each point until we get to the top. And as you get closer to the top, you'll notice that you just need to put a little pressure on the plate to get it to go into place. So once we've got the wing tacked in place, we simply need to weld it up down this seam here, and then we'll be able to put our pad eyes in and all the other small pieces. So the next thing you want to do is you want to grab each one of your wing filler pieces here, and we're going to end up putting these on the side like this and getting them welded in there. Austin, go ahead, you're better than I am. Once you get that tacked in place, you can go ahead and weld it on the front side. Probably need some pliers to get it positioned just right. Once that's tacked in there, go ahead and tack the other side in, making sure that the lines come corner to corner, and then we're going to get that welded out.